First of all, I wanted to say that this is technically the trailer from the leaked trailer. I happen to know that these happen to be the same exact trailers, just with a few different renditions. So, we're going to look at everything that we can here real quick. Okay, so we see a blue house, presumably his apartment at the time.
Mike, I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Steve Raglan. Unfortunately, he's not going by David Miller, which sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. Also want to notice the difference in relationship between these two characters, because
Hi,
the
this
way
is
that
Mike.
they're talking to
I was
each
just calling to
other
see if that job.
is acting as if they've never met each other before. Which is a bit weird if it's supposed to be a father-son relationship, which makes me wonder if these two characters are not going to be related in any sort of way, especially given the fact that we now have Abby instead of Elizabeth in this timeline. And I'm pretty sure in the last trailer or the original leaked trailer, we heard something related to Abby crying out for her father. So I actually don't know how this is all going to work. So notice of delinquency, if you do not respond to this letter right away, we will contact your work or contact your employer and refer the case fiction if you do not contact the Department of Court hearing date. Okay, yeah. So he has a court date, he needs a job, and he's being evicted.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids.
You can hear in his voice. First of all, I wanted to make a notice that I was wrong. Phone Guy does not seem to be in this at all. I didn't notice it until this trailer came out, but the voice that does say it is his, because you can distinctly hear that Shaggy in his voice. So yeah, the way that he's actually describing these events to Mike implies that these two don't really have a relationship. And you might say, well, maybe Michael is pretending, or maybe William is pretending, but still with both of those, I feel like you would be able to know their voices, and it's just a weird interaction altogether if these two characters are two people that know each other and are, you know, father and son.
They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
Also, the way that he's wording it, no, he's definitely the owner of this location, which automatically makes it uncanon, I believe, to the original, or to the game canon, since William is, you know, kind of known locally as the guy responsible for all those murders. So interesting that we see the vents. I saw this over on Twitter. If you actually pay attention to this wall, this is a bunch of content creators on here. Over here, you've got Raz, you've got Daco. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But based on the fact that I would assume the other creator that was with them, I can't remember his name at the moment. I know the three of them went there to watch them film for a few days. They were brought down by Scott himself, and if they manage to make a cameo like this, it makes me wonder about certain other creators that have arguably had I'm not saying that Daco and 8-Bit Ryan and them have had a small impact on the FNAF community, but rather that there are people that have had a much greater, arguably, impact on the FNAF community altogether. I wonder if they are also going to make it into this, because I know that Corey does show up, but I wonder about, what about Mark? What about Matthew? What about the other creators? Things like that. And I know that their names, some people are going to not be considered big enough to a show and get a cameo inside of the infamous Five Nights at Freddy's movie. But I feel like some of them definitely do deserve that role, you know?
Just keep your eyes on the monitor.
And the way that he says that sounds so much like Chills, but it has that shaggy rasp to it. And it's so obvious that this is, you can hear distinctly that this is who he is. Oh my god. Keep your eyes on the monitor. First of all, it's pouring rain outside, so maybe I was wrong about all of my theories on how obviously the events of Follow Me had to have taken place on the same night, because this isn't Seattle and it rains every night. Clearly, this is a caveat to that, because this is the first night we've seen so far of this place, and it's pouring down rain. So what is this about Nebraska? That's what I'm interested in. What is this about Nebraska? Last I checked, this takes place in Utah, buddy.
Police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Also, why is she not wearing her police uniform anymore? I assume that's the same woman. I could be wrong, but those two look very much like the same person. So then why is she wearing a uniform in one and then showing up in casual clothes in the next one? And is she supposed to be set up as like Mike's love interest? Or I'm confused on what's going on here. I saw people bringing up how these might be the characters from the books. They're not. They are not. They are not. This is not a Silver Eyes equal. It's not. Trust me. It's not.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
That reveals what everybody was so confused about. The animatronics are possessed. They are trying to get her. Actually, I don't know. It could be William trying to get her, which if that's the case, then that even more, just this whole movie insinuates this cannot be a father-son relationship. There is no world where William is just casually going to be like, yeah, I think I'll kill both my daughter and my son. That makes sense. On purpose, that makes total sense. I don't know who this chick is. I assume she's the same chick that was inside of the clothes earlier, or inside of the jacket, looking all sulky to the right by the truck. If it is a Silver Eyes pull, that could mean she is meant to represent Charlotte. But I don't think it is. I'm going to go with my gut here and say this is not a Silver Eyes retelling. But if it were, that would most likely be Charlotte. I doubt it is, though. No, that character is referred to as Max, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. Also, a lot of people think that's Springtrap. That's not Springtrap. That's Spring Bunny. There's a huge difference between Springtrap and Spring Bunny. Spring Bunny is the suit that he wears. Springtrap is a character himself. Springtrap is William Afton after being spring-locked inside of the Spring Bunny suit. Springtrap is not inside of this movie. What word was she saying there? What word was she saying there? Now, I'm no genius, but I have a feeling that they cut out specifically what she was trying to say there. I sure do wonder why. I sure do wonder why. What are you trying to hide? What are you trying to hide? Interesting. That looks like Garrett. Garrett. Which would imply that if Garrett is meant to be his little brother, not dead, but the events of Five Nights at Freddy's is taking place. So, if anyone thought this movie was going to be canon, I am so sorry to tell you, it is very clearly not a canon movie. That does not look like our boy. First of all, a lot of people were wondering what's going on here. That's also what I'm interested about. I would assume this is the police officer girl, hence why the next scene is her being here. Most likely attacked in secret by William. Yeah, no. That's not him. I don't know who this guy is, but it's not him. And then the same thing, this is just somebody being put inside of a normal suit. This is the cross wires and beams that phone guy was talking about. This is just the inside of a suit. And he's about to be stuffed.
Where to?
And then, of course, it begs the question of, you can clearly see that Corey can see Golden Freddy here.
I don't always get the weirdos.
Which means that Golden Freddy isn't a spirit, I would assume. That could be wrong of me in assuming, but it does heavily make it seem like this is not a spirit, but instead a suit. Also, what is the relationship between these two? Also, Abby seems a lot more calm now inside of this. So then, who is this to Abby? Because if you remember the original opening, it was raining, it was her and Mike coming here. And now she's standing here with Golden Freddy. So who's Golden Freddy? A lot of people are saying that maybe it's Mike, but I'm going to say that it's not Mike, because Mike was being shoved into a normal suit. And plus, I'm sorry to tell you, majority of stories don't usually take the protagonist and end up killing him. So, that's just usually how it goes. Especially in the first movie for somebody that's supposed to be the protagonist of the entire series. But, overall, not bad. Not bad at all. Before this video ends, I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm streaming over on twitch.tv/sh1zuh31. Shizu, just with 131 instead of IEI. Make sure to come watch. You guys can see me react to stuff live and react to more than just this, because I also watched FNaF's video and reaction on this, and I also watched a bunch of other videos, so just make sure to come and hang out with me, and it'll be a fun time, I promise. With that being said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Mata ne!